Torah Or Parashat Shemot, page Memtes, second column. Now, the Rebbe was explaining that just like Golus Mitzrayim was a preparation for Matan Torah, but that was for the revealed Torah. The same way, this Golus is a preparation for the revelation of Mashiach, which is Pnimius HaTorah. So he said, just like in Egypt they had Chemel Vavainim, the slavery with bricks and mortar, excuse me, with bricks and mortar, with bricks and mortar and Liban and Chol Aveda Basada and so on and so forth. So he said the same thing now in our Golus. We also have Chemel Vavainim is Kal V'Chomer, Levanim is Liban Hilchasa, Chol Aveda Basada is Braisa, and so on. So he's explaining that Avraham Avinu chose Golus instead of Gehenim, because in order to reach the level of the revelation of Gan Eden, you need to go through a cleansing process. So Avraham Avinu chose Golus, but because the Neshama is a Nivra, still it's a limited creation. So how is it able to handle all this great revelation of Elokus? So therefore, Torah mitzvahs give the garment that they can handle this great revelation of Gan Eden. Okay, we'll start again. This middle, last column of Memtes. This last paragraph. Second column. This is what the Chazal tell us, Shishim Heima Malchus. What the Shlomo Melech says in Shir HaShirim, 16 are the kings. That refers to Shishim Mesechtes, the 60 tractates of Gemara. Shmein and Pilach and 80 concubines is the level of Braisa. And unlimited young people, that refers to halachas. So literally says like this: Mishnah is likened to Malchus, right? Shishim Heima Malchus refers to the Gemaras. So he says, V'neidim Moshel Mishnah Yisrael Malchus. What's the connection and the similarity of Mishnayis to Malchus, to royalty? Kamaimer, as Alek Chazal tell us, Masnita Malchusa. A Mishnah is a level of Malchus. By the way, the Gemara also says, man, Rabbi used to quote this Gemara a lot, Man Malke Rabbanan, who are the kings, are the Chachamim, the scholars. It's an Api Maimer Azal, based on what the Gemara says, Ishim Azras, a woman in the childbearing gives Edom the red that becomes the meat, the flesh. Nimsa she'ikir azra savalat. If the basar, the flesh of the person, the meat of the person, which is the primary level of the person, that comes from tipus nukva, that comes from the woman. Like it says, Isha kisazriya v'yolda zachar. If a woman will give the seed first, she'll give birth to a male. The tip is tchat. So if so, okay. Bottom line is, the primary pregnancy is in the woman. Okay, so the main body of the person comes from the mother, from the woman. The tip is tchad. What's the purpose of the male? So what's the male's activeness in this birth? Rak levader tipus nukva, to refine it. In other words, the primary birth is from the woman. The man just refines the tipa of, the woman, that the male tipa is to refine the woman that she give birth to a proper child. Like it says, refining the silo, which is the level of birudim. Okay, skip the parentheses, like 8 lines. What is Mishnayis? Mishnayis is to refine the halacha, right? Like it says, B'chacham is biridu, tamei, tahar, asr, mutter. What does Mishnah say? What's tamei, what's not tamei, what's kosher, what's not kosher? And then the pirish mutter, what does it mean? Things which are permissible. He says mutter doesn't only mean permissible. As Al Rebbe explains in Tanya, mutter means untied. Matir asurim. Sheina also b'dei v'kosher b'dei chitzainim. That it's not bound up to evil. Therefore, v'yuchal is v'lochol b'kedusha, and therefore it can be elevated to go up to kedusha. Ki adamu hanefesh, because the nefesh is the blood. Huh? Yes. Don't run out to the Uber. There's no Uber where you can go. So he says like this. What does mutter mean? Why? But it's all connected. Why is it permissible? Because the evil, the kedusha that's in the evil, klipas noiga, is not bound to it. Therefore, a person is able to elevate it. And when a person elevates it, it becomes blood, which is the soul. And he says, "V'nei kol ma'achal she'yochel," any food that a person eats. Nepach ledam, it turns into blood, right? That's, as we know medically, the food turns into blood. Ki talas shlitun inun. There's three controlling parts of the body: kavda, v'liba, umecha. The liver, the heart, and the mind. The blood becomes refined in the liver. And then the person has the ability to learn and daven and do mitzvahs with all his heart and all his soul. In other words, you elevate the spark of kedusha, right? The food becomes your soul, and therefore you're able to function. But if a person eats non-kosher food, which means the kedusha is so bound to the evil that you cannot elevate it. Even though you take, let's say a guy eats not kosher, and then he goes, learns, and he davens, and he does mitzvahs, it still doesn't elevate itself to Hashem, that is refining the food. The same thing, biruri levushim, refining clothing, or bottom, which are the level of makifim, which is encompassing level of clothing and housing even more. Housing is makif de makif. So the food is the premius. When you elevate the food, the kosher food, you elevate it to kedusha. Tray for food does not become elevated to kedusha. The same thing, a Jew needs to refine his clothing, his houses. How do you get this level of bitter? That's the level of chokmah, which is the level of mishnayos. Why? Because chokmah again is a dat, right? Mishnayos is short and sweet. Mishnayos is very short. It's like the level of chokmah. Achlias nimsha chokmah la. Chokmah says bar chakim lebel chokmah yediyah. But in order to bring down this level of chokmah, which is way higher than world, to come into birurim, to come into the level of refining food is why they tanoim ubali mishnah, to the tanoim that are the ones that wrote the mishnah. In other words, like this: Mishnah is chachma. Okay, chachma says shalach HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The problem is Antu Chakim v'leibel Chachma Yediyah. Hashem's Chachma is way up there. So how do we bring down that level of Chachma, which is Mishnah, in to be able to refine, like you said, Chachma is Beriru, the refining of the food, clothing, and shelter is through the level of Chachma. That's through the Tanoim. Why? Because it says, Eisanim meis the audits. It says, there's a part that says, Eisanim means the strong ones that founded the earth. Eisanim is Eisius Tanoim. One of the reasons Alter Rebbe begins Tanya with the word Tanya, even though it's not a Tanya, in the Gemara it's Sedara Shab Samloi, about, Mashpi and Eisi Tzad Val Tirosha. So Chassidim discuss, why does Alter Rebbe say, start with Tanya? So one of the answers is because it was a klipa. Tanya is the letters Eisan. And Eisan is a klipa that finds itself within Torah scholars. And Tanya came to elevate that spark of klipa that finds itself in the scholars to elevate it to Kedusha. But it's the same thing. Eisanim is the letters Tanoim, which are Masidim, Mesaoretz. Miyasdim, Mesaoretz, they make a foundation of the earth. B'chinas Torah Sheba'al Peh, in the level of Torah Sheba'al Peh. Meaning like this. Mishnah is Torah Shabbat Ksav, right? But the problem... No, one second. He said Mishnah is the level of Chokhmah. Yeah? This level of Chokhmah can't come down. It's too great to come. Chokhmah is... So the Bali Mishnah bring it down through Torah Shabbat Peh. It comes down through Torah Shabbat Peh. And therefore, like it says, Maskil le'etzen shemam shich and memchinas maskil. They bring down from the level of maskil. Uksiv maskil al dover. To understand the thing properly, therefore they're called malchisa. Sheyichad HaMelech Imo, who told that the unity of the king and the queen is constant. V'yichad zam shachas mad. And this unity of king and queen is the hamshach of Mayim Tchura, meaning the masculine water, which is the Serusa de La'ela. Levarer Aman de Ban, to elevate the Mayim Nukvim of Ban, which is feminine. V'hainu ayidei tanoim chachmei HaMishnah, through the chachamim of the Mishnah. Ki tanoim meisi saying shemekabim mechinas chachma. Al derech Moshe kibul Torah miSinai. Similar to the concept of Moshe kibul Torah miSinai until the Nevi'im Yisrael Anshi Knesses Agdela. So Moshe Rabbeinu is a level of Chachma, right? So Moshe kibul Torah miSinai and he gave it over to Yeshua. So the Anshi Knesses Agdela eventually were makabel the Torah for Moshe Rabbeinu, who's the level of Chachma. L'chein ikar piski alocha shelahem. Therefore, majority of halachas of Anshe Knesses Agdela was not necessarily based on what they understood. It's only mekabel ish mipi ish ad meisha. It's a level of bittul. In other words, they didn't make up halachas based on their understanding. Anshe Knesses Agdela, all the tekonas of Anshe Knesses Agdela was what they were mekabel Torah Shabbat Peh from Moshe Rabbeinu. Like it says, Yeshua, Zkenim, Nevi'im Asuran, Shekhanes Zakadela. So therefore, this is all tradition of the Mesidas HaTorah, or the tradition of Torah. So it all came from Moshe Rabbeinu, which is the level of Chachma. Well, Kamaim Azalei, the Gemara says by Rabbi Eliezer, Yud Beis Amalehem Shemaiti. 12 halachas, he said, I heard. About 18 of them, he said, whatever. He says, 12 halachas I heard from my rabbis, and 18 I didn't. I heard it from the majority opinion. Akavya ben Malalo, they wanted to make him the Nasi, but because he disagreed with the Chachamim, it was a whole big machlekes. He disagreed with all the other Chachamim, so they didn't make him the Nasi. But when he was dying, his son came to him, and he said, they said to him, why don't you change your mind? The Chum said to him, why don't you change your mind? He said, I heard it from the majority opinion. So therefore, what I heard the halacha was from the majority, and therefore I'm saying with the majority. I now am in the individual. It doesn't matter. I was mekabel the Torah from the majority opinion. So that's what I'm doing. No, but his son was a different story. His son came to him and said, put in a good word for me. To the Chachamim. So he said to him, Ma'asecha yikarvucha, or Ma'asecha yirachachucha, whatever the word is. Will be merachik you. He said, it's not up to me to put in a good. You're good, they'll be mekadev you. You're not good, they won't be mekadev you. What do you want from me?
But also he told them to go according to the majority. He said, I heard from my teacher.
He told his kids that they should follow the majority, because in that generation, the majority disagreed with him. It's similar to what the Rebbe asks the question, Torah doesn't change. Torah, one of the fundamental aspects of Torah is, Torah doesn't change. So now the question is, nowadays we pass like Beis Hillel. It says in Kabbalah, we're going to pass like Beis Shammai, so Torah is changing. Now we're passing like Beis Hillel, and we're going to pass like Beis Shammai. That means Torah is changing when Mashiach comes. So the Rebbe explains it's not changing. The rule of Torah is you follow the majority opinion. Why do we pass like Beis Hillel now? Because that's the majority opinion. Because the world will be elevated. the majority opinion is going to be like Beis Shammai. So it's not that Torah is changing. Torah says, like you see by Kavim and Malalo, he heard it from the generation of majority. But this generation is a different majority, so the halacha is different. So the Torah is not changing. Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, it's not Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. Torah says majority. Now the majority is Beis Hillel, we pass on Beis Hillel. Loss of love, the majority is going to be Beis Shammai, we pass on Beis Shammai. That's all. Okay, therefore, okay, I'm sorry. Hainul, if he shahol you bechinas ayinu bittul mamish, because Tatanoim and Amiroim, with the ultimate level of bittul, they only did what they were makabel from the previous generations. Okay, therefore the Tanoim and Amiroim had the level of Mesha within them, which is the level of bittul amiti. V'nachnu ma min hamayim mishisil, with meaning what's the inyan of the creations of the Yam are in the Yam, covered by the Yam. It's the ultimate level of like mikveh. It's the ultimate level of bittul. Mashenk enkein Eliyahu. Big gematria ban Eliyahu Navi. Eliyahu equals 52, which is ban habata bechitzenius. Okay, which is not the same internal bittul of Moshe Rabbeinu. It was an external bittul. Lochein olagufa. He was able to refine his body. That his body went up. But it wasn't like the bittul of Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai.
Rabbi, so Ma is masculine always and Ban is feminine?
Yep. L'chein, halacha, by the way, Ban equals Behem also. Adam equals 45, and Behem equals 52. That's why it says Adam u Behema Teshi Hashem. It's the level of Ma and Ban Teshi Hashem.
So Ma is corresponding to Chokmah, Ban is corresponding to Bina?
It's a Malchus usually.
And then what about Av and Sag? Are they Chokmah Bina also?
I don't know. L'chein, halacha shaman atanoim b'mishnah. Therefore, the halachas that the Tanoim said in the Mishnah are elukus mamish, because they were the ultimate level of bittul. So when they spoke, it was the Shechina speaking through them. Which came after the second refining. That was first the halachas refining, and then the second refining. Both, even when they argued, they're both elukus. Therefore, you can refute anybody from a Mishnah. Obviously, an Amiroim could be refuted from a Mishnah. Sometimes, if you refute an Amira from a Brisa, sometimes the Gemara will say the Brisa is wrong, because the Brisa wasn't as authentic as the Mishnah, because Rabbi Yudanoti didn't compile it. This is what Chazal say. Eina Golius miskansis. Golis don't become gathered, meaning Golis doesn't end ela b'schus ha-mishnayis. Only in the merit of mishnayis. Why? Shenema gam ki yitnu b'goyim. Even if they'll be given amongst the goyim, ata kapsim. Now I'll gather them. That's why Mishnah, the letters neshama, all the stuff about Mishnah. Ki inyan. What's the inyan of kibbutz Golius? What's the inyan of the Yidden being gathered back to Eretz Yisrael? That's bitter of Avdallah. Taking the Jews, right? Bitter. You're taking the Jews out of Golos. So if you're actually picking them and refining them, it's all this Chosa Mishnayis, which is the level of Birurim, which is refining. He said, Mishnayis refines and chooses and selects, this is good, this is not good. This could be elevated, this could be not elevated. This is Torah, this is Tomei. Gam Amri Yisrael. And also Chazal say in another place, Ein Yisrael Negol Elabit Tzedakah. Not only in the Schus and Mishnayis, another place it says in the merit of Tzedakah, which is also the Aliyah Acher Avdallah. Like it says, Ayidei Tzedakah. Ki Tzedakah Teremim Goy. V'yimini Techapkeini Dafka. And therefore Hashem's right hand. Again, we're elevating it to a stage that Hashem hugs us. Kumesha cause of Atem to look to Le'echad Echad. Hashem is going to gather every single Jew out of Golus, Lemevei Echad Be'echad, to become one with Hashem. Ki Tzayidei Tzedakah Terem, because Tzedakah elevates the person. Okay, so that Rebbe is explaining so far The level of Shishim Hema Malchus represents the 60 tractates of Mishnah, and he explains at great length what's the mid-level of Mishnah. Mishnah is refining, separating good from bad, and that's the whole source of all the people. Okay, then he says, so it says, Masnisin Malkasa, which also refers to the queen. So Mishnayis is the yichud of Melech and Malka, husband and wife. Braises are the concubines. What do you mean braises are the concubines? He says, Al-Gmor shel Pilegish, Sheyichud imaim amelech rak bekroyev atzneah. The king is not as often with the concubine as he is with his wife, and it's also done not as public, so to speak, in more concealed way. In other words, like this. By Mishnah, which is the level of Chochmah, there's always Hamshachas Chochmi law in the Mishnah. Braise, it's sometimes. Because that Braise could be wrong, it could be incorrect, it could be... Why? Kamayim Azal. Like the Gemara says, any Braise which wasn't learned in the Yeshiva Rabbi and Rabbi, they compiled the Braises that Rabbi Yudah Nasi left out of the Mishnah. Lav Masnita is not necessarily a proper Mishnah. Okay? Why?
It's not a proper Braise.
I'm sorry. It's not a proper Braise. Meaning, Sheina Vadoim Berurim, they're not definite. Al derech shenishkachu shloishes alafim alachos b'mei evlu shulmeisha. Similar to the concept the Gemara says, when Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, they forgot 3,000 halachas, and they were reinstated by Shneur ben Kenaz. Shneur ben Kenaz was the one that reinstated.
Who was that?
Shneur ben Kenaz was in Navi, no earlier. It's one in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. One of the heads, one of the Nasis.
Oh, one of the 12 Shabbos?
Depends when, I don't know. But he was in Moshe Rabbeinu's time, no? Kach and Yemasnita, the same thing, the Braise. Dolei Masne, Beit Abchi, Rabbeinu, Vadorma, not definite Kokach. Why? Because they don't necessarily have this level of Chochmah in them. Okay.